Alright, so we got the new valve body in there. Looks good. Everything's torqued to 9 Newton meters or 6.6 foot-pounds. I ended up, went to Napa. Got this Permatex. It's automatic transmission, special formula, gasket maker, automatic transmission pans, covers, case halves. It says resists the fluid, so figure give this a roll. The one video I watched said they use a Type 3, but I think this is going to be good enough. Top cover gasket, the two halves where the transmission go together, they're asking for sealant in here, this little groove, and in here. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the back side, put it down, see how it kind of squishes out. Maybe put a little bit on the top side. You don't want to put a whole heck of a lot, but you want to make sure it seals up good. Then it says assemble parts immediately, finger tighten bolts until material begins to squeeze out around flange. Allow to dry 1 hour, then tighten to torque specs. Because if you snug it up by hand, it's squishing it out, evening it all out, making that gasket. Pretty much making, that's for the pan that I'm going to be doing this, but making the gasket for the pan. And then once you torque them down, then it'll set up nice and should seal up good. Where if you run them down, you know, put it on your pan, throw your pan up, run them down, torque them, it's just going to squish out everywhere. And it might get in your transmission, get all over the outside, which doesn't really matter, but it's probably not going to seal as good. And like I said, it'll end up acting more like a glue. So if you ever want to take your pan off again to replace that filter or the strainer that they call it, yeah, it's going to be a real bear and you have a hard time getting it off. So put it on, assemble them immediately, finger tighten the bolts, and you can run them up with a rat socket with your finger in that, and then let it sit for an hour, come out, torque them. You know, you do your crisscross pattern. I'll just use this as an example. You know, you can hit here, then go down here, and go up here, and here, go here, here. Just do kind of like a zigzag, and then go all the way around to double check, make sure you torqued everything. Alright, well, we got the valve body back in. Put that little gasket in there. I used the RTV sealant in those two spots, which are right about here. You can kind of see it better on this side. Sitting in about between these two bolts. Ran them down, hand tight, squished it out a little bit, and let it set for 45 minutes to an hour. And went with the actual full torque. Then put the bracket back on, put the cannon plug back in, hooked up the ground, and hooked the AC line back up. Now we're going to put the fire blanket back on, put the mount in, bonding wire, be able to hook up the cannon plugs, and it'd be pretty much good to go. Already got the pan on. Actually, where's that at? We did the cover. The valve body cover is 8 Newton meters or 5.9 foot-pounds of torque, and the pan is 5 Newton meters or 3.7 foot-pounds of torque. But yeah, we got the sealant on the pan. You know, when I run mine, I run the sealant in between the bolts, and I'll actually go around the bolt hole. So I'll go like here, go around the bolt hole, and go here, and just keep going until the pan's done. You don't need a real thick thing of sealant on it. You know, just, I mean, just a tiny bit. You don't want to get a ton on, because then it'll squish into the transmission, start gumming that up, or starts flowing through. But we just ran them hand tight till it started squishing out, squeezing out a decent amount. I went around, cleaned it off, wiped it off. That way it has a nice clean look. And then here in about another half hour, I'll torque them. That's set for 24 hours. And be able to fill the transmission tomorrow. Crank up the car. And take it for a ride, clear all the codes. See if anything comes back, or if we have any issues, leaks or anything. But yeah, when you put the filter in, it's 9 Newton meters, 6.6 foot-pounds of torque. And the pan is 5 Newton meters, 3.7 foot-pounds torque. Valve body is 9 Newton meters, 6.6 foot-pounds torque. And the cover is 8 Newton meters, with 5.9 foot-pounds torque. Not a lot for any of them, so you really don't need to get on them too much. Speaking of, there is 2. Can't really see them, but pretty much back on the back of the cover, there's 2 bolts back on the back side. Unless you got a tiny little 1/4 inch torque wrench, you're not going to get in there. I had a 3/8, couldn't get in there, so I just kind of snugged those 2 up compared to the other ones, and hopefully nothing leaks. If it comes down to it, then I'll have to go out and buy a little 1/4 inch, or see if any of my buddies have a little 1/4 inch torque wrench. That's the only way you're going to get to those. The other ones, you can put an extension on. You can run Uni-Wiggle on this one. All the rest you can just run an extension. Drop down on them. Get them torqued up good. And this one over here, underneath the wire harness, was kind of a bear too. I just kind of snugged that one up. Other than that, ready to go back together. Put the airbox back in after I put the rotation mount in. The fire blanket. We're ready for fluid, ready to drive. Alright, it's been an hour. Torqued all the bolts. Do a crisscross pattern. Go from like here over this corner. And you can go here, back, and just crisscross till you get them torqued. And then I always run around the perimeter just to check. Make sure everything's good. I already replaced the seal and the drain plug. Should have showed you guys that. There's a flat side and a rounded side, or beveled side. You want the flat side up against the pan, and the rounded side, of course, goes down towards the plug. And you're going to be torquing that to 22.9 foot-pounds. And again, the pan was at 5 Newton meters, or 3.7 foot-pounds. Alright, we got the fire blanket back in. Got the torque mount back in. See, there's that bracket that I had out earlier. Put new nuts on everything, just for the heck of it. Figure I had it out miles away. And the bonding wire, ground wire, hooks to the bottom bolt on the engine, or the front of the transmission. I ran it up along the fire blanket, connected it there. That's where it gets connected. Plug in the 2 connectors, and pretty much done. What we gotta do is throw the duct back in, which that's pretty much self-explanatory. Goes back in there. Hook it up here. Hook it up there. Hook up the little hose, butterfly clamp, and put your little clip back in. It's good to go. I gotta let this sit for 24 hours. I'll refill the transmission and take it for a test drive. Get everything set up. Alright, well, it's all back together. Got the airbox back in, that clamp on, that clamp. Little hose down here, got that butterfly clamp. It's actually been about 48 hours. I had some other stuff going on and trying to find fluid. I was back and forth on, I was going to tow it over with my truck to get a flush, but with the pandemic going on, nobody seems to be open, and the people that are open don't want to touch Subarus. The only ones that want to touch it is dealer, and I don't want to tow it 45 minutes just for a flush. So here's your plug, your fill plug. Pull that out, fill it up. I'll show you what I got here. Once it starts running out, put your plug on, fire up your car, go reverse, neutral, drive, neutral, reverse, park, come back down, pull it back out, fill it up until it starts running out again. Let it sit there until it gets down to a drip. Once it starts dripping off of here, then you can go ahead and put your plug back in, tighten it up. It does have a seal on there. I didn't get a new seal for that yet. I'll just do that once I get it flushed. I'll have them put a new seal on, because all the other videos I was watching, they are pretty much 100% correct. You only get about 50% of your fluid out. So I got 2, 4, 6, and now it's almost 7 quart. My car calls for 12.9 quart. So I'm just going to run this for a little while. Like I said, with the pandemic going on, it's hard. I even checked with a shop up the road, 30 minutes up the road. All they do is transmissions, and they said, no, we don't flush Subaru transmissions. They couldn't recommend anybody in the area. They said just go to Subaru. So either do it yourself or take it to Subaru, I guess, which that's what I'm going to end up doing here in probably 2-3 weeks. Get some mileage on it, run it through. It's $10. Well, Walmart was $10 a quart. I got 5 there. O'Reilly's was $11 a quart. I got the other 5 there. which I might take the other 3 back to O'Reilly's and get the money back from there, since they're the most expensive. But this is number 1. You know, Valvoline. I use Valvoline on a lot of my vehicles in the past. It's full synthetic, CVT, continuous variable transmission, automatic transmission fluid. It's recommended for those. And it has the whole list on the back. And there is Subaru Lineartronics CVTF part number. I guess that's the newer ones, I'm not sure. CV30 and the high torques. But this was recommended by the guys at the shop. You can use this instead of getting the Subaru brand. It's just as good. And like I said, I ain't gonna be running it for very long, you know. Probably 5,000 miles. Get everything broke in, and then I'll go for a full system flush. So I get all 12.9 quarts of brand new fluid. Oh, and here's a little. Oops, here it is. Well, yeah, I can use that. Here's a little pump I got. Got 2 different hoses. It says it works on quart and gallons. I don't know, because it has the 2 different little hoses. It's got this one, and it's got this one. Well, I used the longer one in these quarts, and I was able to suck pretty much all of the fluid out. I've seen guys before online doing it, and I guess maybe they were using the shorter one, and they'd have a bunch left in their bottle, so they'd take all their bottles and dump them together and trying to get it all out. If you use this one, it works good. Push it up there in there real nice and tight. I mean, shove it up there until it stops. Because I ran through my first bottle, no problem. Went to hook up to my second bottle, stupid little thing fell off into the bottle. So I dump it into the empty one and get that, and then start over. I ended up getting this too. I thought maybe this would be easier. You know, you just plug it in the side, hook your bottle to it, quart and gallon, and it's got a twist. You can really see it. Yeah, see it has twist on and off. So if you're on, it's emptying your bottle. You want to stop, just click it off, and it stops your flow. But that wasn't working very well. There wasn't a lot of room. It wasn't going in far enough into the transmission. I got 1 quart in maybe, and it started spilling some out, so I didn't want to waste a bunch. But still got to clear all my codes off of this, but as you can see, all my trouble lights went out. All I got is my doors open, of course, seatbelt brake, and your little temperature one, because the engine hasn't warmed up yet. I'm going to take it for a little test drive and try it out. And it's always good too, after you run it a couple days, that you put it back up and recheck the fluid level. You're going to be running it for a while, but that's about it. Hopefully this helped out, and we're ready to go for a ride. Ready to test drive? Alright, till next time.